Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this panel. I'm Min. I'm a partner at ForesightVenture. And today it's my pleasure to have this amazing line of speakers to join us. So a little bit more about ForesightVenture. We are a crypto fund manager about 400 million in AUM, and we are also managing the biggest crypto media outlet in the world, including the blog, Foresight News, Coinlist, and Block Temple. So we are heavily exposed to the AI sector. Actually, ORAProtocol and Zero Gravity are also our portfolio companies. So before we dive into the specifics, can each one of you gentlemen briefly describe your vision for the decentralized AI infrastructure and how your projects are contributing to this ecosystem? Can we start with Michael?
Sure. Hey everyone, great to be here. Nice to be in Singapore and back since Super AI. Basically, our vision is that, first of all, at Zero G, we're building the fastest modular AI chain. So our vision is that the future of AI even is dependent on blockchains. And so the future of AI needs to be open, it needs to be decentralized, and also open source. And so that's the future that we're building towards. And the way we've looked at it is that in order for it to be decentralized in the first place, we need to start at the data infrastructure layer. Without the data throughput that's needed for AI workloads, how can AI be fully on-chain? And so that's the first thing that we tackled. We basically tackled the storage side, we tackled the data availability side so that we can get to speeds of 50 gigabytes per second per consensus layer and above, so that you can even do fully on-chain training eventually. And then once we tackle the data layer, then we go into the execution layer. And we really want to be the connective tissue between all of the different AI projects in the space. And so we're going to be releasing a serving layer in the future where basically you can register as a serving node. Could be an inference TE node, could be an inference ZKML node, an OPML node like Aura, for example. Could be a data retrieval node. And so it's really a great way to create a fully decentralized ecosystem, because we don't believe in black box AI, which ironically OpenAI is black box closed AI. It's not open at all because you have no idea where the data came from, what the censorship was that was done to the data, how the data was transmuted, how the model was trained, which version of the model you're being served, all of those things you don't know. So you can't verify, independently verify. You have to trust OpenAI that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. Imagine, 10, 20 years from now, you have AI agents running full systems, governance systems, manufacturing systems, transportation systems, logistics systems. Do you trust individual entities where you can verify what happened to run those types of systems? We don't think so. So that's why we're building a decentralized AI system through Zero G. So that's a very quick vision.
All right. Well, okay. Tough act to follow, amazing, Michael. So my name is Jarrod. For those of you who heard from Alex Skidnoff at NEAR, I lead our ecosystem and founder success efforts. So really what that means is I help everything that he shared to come to life and working with a variety of projects across our ecosystem. And I think like many folks in this space, we're balancing the tension of solving for this future that we want to bring life today, which we call user-owned AI, and enabling microeconomies at scale, but also solving for big problems that exist in AI as a whole, right? And I think really understanding where crypto fits within AI. Two of those big problems that we're really meaningfully tackling over the longer term is, the first is the data shortage, right? If you think about the large frontier models that exist today, whether that's OpenAI's O1, whether that's Claude 3.5 Sonnet, they've largely been trained on what is public and accessible data, right? Common Crawl, if you're not familiar, essentially is like the indexed data set of the internet. It's about 130 trillion tokens. The internet as a whole is about 300 trillion tokens. But then when you really think about the private data that exists that isn't necessarily open source, that's a huge delta, right? I think there was a research organization called Epic AI that estimated it was 3 quadrillion tokens when you talk about private data. And in order for the next advancements in frontier AI models, we need that access to private data. The challenge is we are that private data. And who actually owns that, who is compensated for that. That's a big chunk of problem sets we're looking at solving. The other is to get to these frontier models, it requires an immense amount of energy, right? I'm sure many of you folks have heard about the compute shortage. When you really actually look at first principles, the layer beneath that is the energy required. If you read Llama 3's paper from Meta, they shared it took 24,000 H100s that were trained for 54 days to train Llama 3. To put that into context for folks who aren't familiar with flops, that's basically enough energy to power all of San Francisco for 4 days, 24 hours, just to train Llama 3, right? And so there's an immense amount of energy required. People ask, well, why isn't GPT-5 out? But I think the question is, why do we have enough energy for GPT-5? And one way to solve for that is through distributed systems. And what is blockchain great at? Distributed systems, right? So these are two very meta problems, I would say over a 10-year time horizon, that obviously, we're focused on. So I know the question was vision for decentralized AI. We can get much more practical what is today, but those are two big problems that we're looking at.
Yeah, great talk. I'm Kartin from ORAProtocol. We are building decentralized AI on Ethereum. So I think the future of decentralized AI will be on the most decentralized blockchain. So that's why we choose to build on Ethereum mainnet. And right now, the most AI system are pretty much fundraised from the venture capital. So, but venture capital, it means normal people won't have the access, the public won't have the access to the ability to invest on this AI model before they ever made it. And so that's why we promote the new concept business model on blockchain called IMO, initial model offering, so that people can participate the investment for the AI model since day one. And so the people will be able to own the AI model on blockchain. That's the number one things we are doing right now. And then the second thing we do is AI Oracle. We enable AI inference power for smart contract on blockchain with a really low cost. So we invent a new technology called OPML a year ago, and that enable a smart contract to have AI model on chain really with low cost. And then I think AI model will paradigm shift all the industry, and blockchain industry definitely is the number one industry gonna be paradigm shift by AI. Because in this cycle, the most powerful model are diffusion model and transformer model. They both are generating models, so it means that everything on chain content generation will be massively produced by this model. So we can compress. So it's a new paradigm here that we can compress the energy into some low entropy product in the virtual world with really low cost. So I think the future of the AI will be super decentralized because it's just the way we gather resources on chain, just way faster, easier, and at the end of the day, who's gonna win the AI world is whoever be able to have more resources to dedicate into the AI model training. And so the best way, the best way to do it right now is through equity. But I think in 5 years from now, the best way to raise money to do AI model will be on chain. So the first step should be on chain. The last step also should be on chain. When we use it, we should use on the Oracle, right? When we raise money for the AI model, we should also raise on blockchain. We can raise on Near, we can raise on Ethereum, we can raise on whatever chain has the liquidity.
Thank you all. It's amazing how decentralized infrastructure can bring to AI. Follow-up question for Kartin, because you mentioned you use OPML to achieve Onchain AI, and also it's a very interesting concept about IMO. Can you explain more, what are the potential use cases? And along the phase, what kind of potential challenges would you foresee?
Yeah, I think the cost. Oh. Hello. What's up? Oh, thank you. I think the major challenge here is the cost. So I remember ZKML was their first famous term in crypto, that how we can enable AI on blockchain. And the biggest challenge, back to 2 years ago, my team also tried to use ZKML to bring AI on chain, but we realized essentially what ZKML is, you're trying to use a polynomial to prove the inference and then put the result in on blockchain, right? But it's just the cost is way too high. It's like it's too high, so that it's not like feasible for the end to use it. So that's why we come up with like optimistic machine learning. We instead of use polynomial, we use the Merkle tree to prove the AI model inference, so that submit that on blockchain with extremely low cost. Right now, one inference for OPML, it just costs like about 0.03 cents, 0.03 US dollar per inference. It's still expensive compared with the Web2 AI, but it's significantly lower the cost already. And we can foresee this cost will still go down by 100x by next year. And so the cost is definitely the number one like problem when we use AI on chain. It's like it's just like a blockchain native problem, way too expensive to use. And so with OPML, we can resolve this like cost problem. But the second problem is like we lack of like AI model for crypto usage. So right now, my focus is pretty much really focused on this AI DM. How we can use like transformer on blockchain to make this DM more efficient, more useful for the people on chain, for this old degen trader. Like how we can help them to use this AI model for their DM more often. But the biggest problem here is like we do not have like the model for crypto specifically, because all these like AI company or people who work on AI, they do not know about crypto that much. Like they just don't want to know probably about whatever reason. And so like the reason why I like promote this IMO idea is just like I want them to realize that like you can raise a lot of money in the crypto world, and then to use that to train an AI model to coordinate the productivity relationship. So some data center actually begin to accept token as like their payment method. So like if you launch a new token with your AI model and with us, you will be able to access with like tons of H100